Mr. Kanoria, stay with us. We also have Rishi Gupta of FINO PayTech. Mr. Gupta, thank you so much for joining us. First question to you would be payment banks. A lot of clarity as compared to the draft guidelines with regard to the FDI clarity, the JV partner, and also the clarity on the minimum balance. How is it looking like to you?
So the way the draft guidelines from August to November, there has been a lot of changes which the RBI has done in the draft to the final guidelines, and they have looked at the suggestions which I think went from many aspirants, and they have incorporated most of those changes in the draft guidelines, especially with regard to third-party products, BCs being allowed as a payments bank, then FDI guidelines, then the 500 crore net worth for you to go listing. So many of the suggestions I think which the industry bodies actually gave make this case even more compelling, and the objective of reaching the unbanked to the payments bank platform, I think the guidelines are very is now more good for that system as such. So I'm quite favorable and hopeful that as the business evolves and when the business will grow, the RBI would further look at those guidelines and will make it open as we progress on this line.
Mr. Gupta, in the run-up to the release of the final guidelines, you also sought a lot of comments which, like you mentioned, a lot of them of the industry body has been taken on board. Have you started discussing when it comes to specific partners to tie up for payment banks?
See, I think on a standalone basis, this business will be a little tough business, and definitely you will need partners, you will need some joint venture partners who can be there with you. As of now, because when we were talking to people, most of the questions we were saying, we were looking at was let the final guidelines come. So I'm sure the activity level will go up in the next few weeks as the application has to be submitted by middle of January. So the JV discussions will, I think, gather more steam in the coming weeks to come.
Final question to both of you, Mr. Kanoria, to you first. 70% has been set as a 75% has been set as a target for the PSL, lending. Do you think that is doable?
Well, as I said that where I have questioned and suggested that 25 lakh limit itself is a question, and if that can be increased would have been better. But now that the guidelines have come, one needs to build a business model accordingly. So this is the final guideline, so we have to take it and see whether based on this a business model can be created.
Mr. Gupta, one concern largely is around the SLR requirement. Do you think that will impact margins?
Yeah, definitely it would, but we'll have to build the business based on the final guidelines which are there. The model has to take care of the cost of the SLR and then build it up and look at it whether it will become viable from the 25% SLR requirement which has come. So I'm sure anybody who will be looking at will look at the final guidelines and then make the business model around it. So any waivers on this would definitely be more encouraged. But as these are the final guidelines, we'll have to stay put on this and then make our business case out of it.
All right, gentlemen, fair enough. Thank you so much for joining in this afternoon with your thoughts and perspective on those RBI norms out there. All right, so that's the big other development that we'll be tracking in the banking space. On that note, we'll wrap up this edition of Countdown, but stay tuned. Coming